but I'm positive that villages everywhere in the world are the heart of any nation and country. Uh, and we are talking about smart villages, and the model is not one for smart villages. Let me just grab some water for me. So, smart villages are communities in rural areas that use innovative solutions to improve their own resilience, okay, and build on local strengths and opportunities. When I'm talking about resilience and local strengths and opportunities, we go back again to that asset based development approach that we need to understand and identify what are the assets in the communities, what are the competitive advantages of the communities, and build upon that. If we are looking only on the deficits in the community, no development can be done. For example, if let's say, again, bringing like stupid example, if let's say you are not musical child or artistic, and your parents take you to play piano for 10 years, you go to school at the end, and you hate every single day of going to that school, that musical school, because they are building wrong assets. Instead of asking, hey, would you like piano or drawing, painting, or just asking what would you like, instead of asking, just building on your deficits from their perspective. It's just waste of your 10 years of going to the piano classes and not be able to, you know, to know the keyboards or just to continue that. Okay, so that I just want to say that we build on assets. We would rather ask, hey, what would you like to learn? I don't know, millions of things: piano, claying, crocheting, knitting, blah, blah, blah. In that case, if you like something, building on that asset will take you somewhere. And if we build on your not artistic or not musical self, it means we are failing it. And when talking about the resilience and saying here that smart villages are communities that use innovation solutions to improve their resilience, the resilience here again, very often resilience in general, I compare about our muscles, like when we go to gym, it it hurts every day we go, or every other day we go to the gym and do our push-ups or whatever, our muscle hurts. But this is when we build the resilience. It takes ongoing effort to build the resilience, and this is the same concept. If you want to do innovative solution to improve the village and make it smart, it takes their resilience, it takes time. They rely on a participatory approach to develop and improve their strategy to, improve their economy, social environment, environmental conditions, mobilizing solutions, etc., etc. Sorry, this is my throat. Okay, so when we are talking about smart villages in this framework, we need to understand that it should 100% be participatory. So participatory approach is just means that actively participating in the local community and drawing up and decision making regarding the smart village strategy itself from the community during the design phase. Okay, during the implementation phase, the participatory approach will ensure that the needs of capacity building and for the trainings for people are really properly addressed. Because if you don't take the participatory approach in developing smart villages, and maybe, I don't know, going knowing or thinking that everyone needs computer literacy and starting it from Word and Excel, uh, and meanwhile another person in the community who is involved in the project is really savvy and knows great knowledge about Microsoft Word and Excel, and you put them everyone in the same level and start doing that without asking what type of training do you need. In that case, you're just, what you're doing, you are making someone to move ahead and the other one will stay here. So it will be this dissonance, like this balance. That's why participatory approach needs to be applied for building the capacity and the training needs of the people who are who are involved and their needs are properly addressed. Questions so far? Nope. Okay. The idea of this smart village in the present day context seems more reasonable as there is a limit of growth in cities, which is leading to creation of urban jungles, right? Where the population ratio per kilometer of land is way above the norms and desired norms in general. So smart villages should, in this sense, be interactive and multifunctioning. There should be active participation of people in various activities, so it will be attractive for the others to stay or migrate back to their villages. So smart villages, one of which will they will automatically link local production with local procurement, local distribution. So in one word, smart village will also have power, knowledge, healthcare, technology, entrepreneurship, and internet capacity or connectivity. So all these things are components of smart villages that we are going to talk, and why is going to deeper into that. But just saying that these are some components that when we are talking about smart villages, we need to consider. Otherwise, very often when you are saying smart villages, that word smart is actually bringing only technology component or technology thinking in your head. For example, like when we are saying smart home, they know that everything is just a button away or things like that. So it's not only technology that we are considering when we are talking about smart villages. Uh, so, as it is said, when you are doing some research, you see that these people who are very involved in creation of smart villages concept and smart villages themselves, they say global means to be to the local needs. That is, global means whatever is global, bring it to your local needs. Okay. So I have a question here now. You can type it in the chat or unmute yourself. What does SMART stand for? What do you think SMART stands for? In project design, in project development, we know that SMART is S stands for specific, M is measurable, attainable, realistic, time bound, etc. But in this context of smart villages, what does SMART stand for you?
For me, it means intelligence.
Intelligence, okay, so
Yeah.
intelligent village, okay, what else?
Efficiency.
You can guys go ahead and start like S stands for this, M stands for that.
There is no the letter. I suppose the efficiency probably. So there's
Efficiency, okay. Mhm. What else?
For me, A would be for attainable, so that everyone in the community of the smart villages can attain. And also R for result oriented, so that you can
Good,
see your result.
thank you.
measurable.
Measurable, definitely.
And for me, R would be for reciprocity, that the components of the system, they somehow interact, that they understand
Okay,
where to.
good one, good one. Okay. So again, there are different because this smart village concept is something new and working, and as they say, uh, like we are building a plane while flying it. So we are building a plane while flying it. So we are learning, right? And when I was doing research about smart villages, there were different ways that people would speak. And for me, that stood out the best is as social skills and simple. So the smart villages should have the social component, skills, and be simple. Moral, methodical, and modern. aware, adaptive, and adjusting, responsive and ready, techno-savvy, and transparent. Anything you don't agree with? Okay.
I was just thinking about the letter R, which could be resourced, because also for smart
Resourceful.
village,
That's
it could
very
be
good.
resourced as
I totally agree, and I promise to make a change in this because this resonates with me very much. Any other question before we move forward? Okay. So life in the village has its advantages and its downsides. Smart village is about rural people who take the initiative to find practical solutions both on the downsides and exciting opportunities arising locally. Smart means using every tool available, let it be digital technology or just, whatever. Just IT is one thing, one of them, one of the many, many, many tools that we have. It means that thinking beyond the village itself, okay, involving the surrounding countryside, groups of people, villages, small towns, and links to the cities. So smart means very important. Smart means building new partnership, okay? So when talking about smart villages, we kind of say that smart village itself is a republic within a republic. So kind of, making it autonomous, trying to make it so self-resilient that it becomes not isolated, don't get me wrong, but it has the weight, the caliber that, you know, it itself can be considered as a republic. And when talking about smart villages, the three pillars that I always bring are the most important for me. The first one you can see is about the social enterprises when basic services and income generation activities are done. It can include everything that is about, social component. It can be arts and crafts, it can be tourism, it can be, I don't know, energy conservation, it can be building this capacity of civil society organizations, it can be public transportation, so anything that is for the social benefits. Okay. The second one is about educational programs, improvement of educational facilities or programs itself, improvement in women empowerment and things like that. So educational program is also a very big component of the smart villages. It's not only IT, it can be different things, okay? Just want to make that very, very explicit that it's not only IT. And the last one is community services. It can be, I don't know, maybe it's not, there are not like banks, branches, but at least functional bank accounts, facilities regarding to agriculture, medical, maybe not clinics, but small facilities, e-governance, use of technologies, etc., etc. And when I was also reading about smart villages, this was something that was really kind of very well giving in what areas smart village can branch into. So it can be technology, living, resources. And Diana, I want to go back to resources. See, when you said about resourcefulness, see, this is it. So resources, village services, tourism, and governance. So these are main six fields or components which are kind of must to be developed when you're talking about smart villages. And if you have, I don't know, a village that the tourism is already very well developed, you don't have necessarily to go through the steps to develop the tourism there. You can focus your energy and attention to one other thing that is not developed in the, within these six areas, these six categories of smart village development. So when we are talking about smart villages or any project, and there are minimum steps that we need to consider, and honestly, um, we can see in any project, I would say that the design phase of the project is taking much more longer and more investment output from our side than the implementation phase. So when we are talking about smart villages, we can see the following roadmap to become a smart village. So it starts with initiation, and it goes into context and stakeholder mapping, knowing, understanding the context and understanding who are the key stakeholders that can be partner with you in the smart village concept and development project. Create local support groups, so people who believe in you, who are part of the process and who own the process, and then identify challenges and needs. Again, we are going to focus on the assets, but we need also to understand what are the challenges and the needs for ourselves, just to be able to mitigate those challenges and needs. So the next step is identifying assets and opportunities, as we talked a lot, and this is the bulk, the underlying importance of the creation of any project. The next step is smart village strategy. So once we understand and mapped all the resources and we have good understanding of how we can proceed, so trying to put everything in strategy. And after we have the strategy, what we are going to do, we are going to put it into actions. So planning, doing an action planning. So after all these 8 important phases in the design stage is done, we are going to generate actions and financing. So we are going into the implementation phase. So this is kind of, a quick roadmap to put together smart villages. And when we talk about the needs, there is an urgent need we understand about designing and developing smart villages, which are independent in providing their own services and employment, and yet well connected to the rest of the world. We can't work in isolation. Okay, a smart village is encompassing sustainable and inclusive development of all sections of the village community, and even sometimes outside, beyond that limit. So the village communities are little republics, as I said earlier, having nearly everything that they want within themselves and almost independent of any outside relations. It's not about partnerships. Partnerships are there, but it's not dependency that they have. As I was mentioning, for example, about trash cleanup or snow cleanup, if you have it locally, if you can do or find the asset and develop it to be a resource for the community, this is what you need to focus instead of making it easier and bringing nearby city the trash cleanup machine or snow cleanup. So that's what this is about. So I also want to say that when we are thinking about smart village, and again, I brought that examples about bed and breakfast and things like that, smart village will furnish long-term social, economic, and environmental welfare based on the examples as well. So these actions for the village community, which will capable and empower enhanced involvement in local governing processes. Okay, this will empower the people, inhabitants, community members to be in charge of the governance process. That it's not one person thing, but this is participatory, and it will encourage new ideas, entrepreneurship opportunities, and build more lively communities. So at the same time, a smart village will ensure good education, and we were talking about the pillars, and education is one of them. Better infrastructures, proper sanitation, health facilities, waste management, renewable energy, environmental protection, name it, as many as you can. So all these things are kind of, needs and the benefits of smart villages. Among the benefits, we can also, at least, the benefit, one of the biggest striking benefit is that this will provide 100% of basic amenities, at least the basic amenities, so that the villagers can enjoy, standards of living in their community. So Yeah, to achieve this smart infrastructure, smart service delivery, smart technology and innovation, smart institutions, this should be through optimal mobilization and utilization of available resources. If you don't mobilize the resources, mobilize and map the community, you won't be able to understand the availability of existing resources and build upon that. So this will lead the faster and more inclusive growth of the village, if you may. Yeah. So and for the conclusion, I would just say that smart villages are the need of an hour right now. As a as right now, we need this type of development, and this development is needed for both rural and urban areas. It, let don't get me wrong saying that we are focusing on rural areas. No, sometimes big cities also need that smartness, but because the flow and migration from the rural into big city is very obvious in different in all over the world, that urban areas also need some smart component into there. But since for equal development, we are not thinking to invest this in cities and towns, but we try to focus on the rural areas, small communities, and try to understand what are there. If for example, in Armenia, we have examples of communities, let's say one community is famous for the mulberry, or the other one is famous for wool or cotton or wool that they are producing, or honey. So I don't know, simple like honey festivals or production, kind of, this type of things for the better livelihoods of the community are component of the smartness. So it's not only IT that we need to focus. And the smart village concept has that huge potential to uplift the grassroots level of the country and the community. Hence, adding a small piece of feather or piece of puzzle to overall development. Okay, so this is that was my kind of conclusion, and we have about 10 minutes. And if you have questions, please go ahead with the questions. If no, I'll do the last activity. And
Stepanjan, I just have one small question to our Ukrainian participants more, because we know the situation in Armenia, that the half of the population lives in Yerevan, in the capital city, and the rest of the people, just a small amount of people, are living in rural areas or villages. Is the same happening in Ukraine, or how is the situation there?
No, I wouldn't say so. So we have traditionally Ukraine is an agricultural country. So we have a lot of villages, and the production of agriculture is pretty intense here. As well, we have these megapolises that are it's a big country. So we have these centers that polarize the country. So there is this magnet in Western Ukraine, which is Lviv. Then there is Kyiv, which is a huge magnet for North Ukraine and Central Ukraine. Then magnet on the south, which is Odessa. So there are several huge hubs, so to say, but it's much agrarian. My region, for example, it's very agrarian. We have here a lot of production of sunflower, of wheat. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.